there's a new trend going out of people having videos of themselves. And Josh, have you seen this?
Yeah.
They call it raw dogging. I'm going to raw dog this flight.
Do you love to travel?
Do you love road trips?
Do you love finding hidden treasures in towns all over the USA? Hi, I'm Joshua.
And I'm Craig. Welcome to Treasures of Our Town. It's the podcast that explores the unique and charming towns scattered throughout the United States.
Join us as we venture into some of the country's most intriguing destinations, uncovering hidden gems and local secrets along the way.
On today's episode, Josh, we've got a person who is actually, you know what? He's a non-geocacher again, like last week. Like last episode, we didn't know he had more about the travel, and this time as well, this guy is all about the travel. He's got his own podcast, not a travel podcast, but he will sound good for it. I'm sure of that. And and he travels all over the USA for work purposes, and that's what we're going to talk to him about today. Because, as you know, Josh, you travel for work, don't you?
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah.
And so I just want to say to all the geocachers listening, now don't just like scroll away.
No.
I guess you can't scroll away from a podcast. Don't just hit pause. Don't just turn it off.
Don't go fast forward.
Yeah, don't do that. We'll talk to him about geocaching.
Of course.
Just like we did with Jack Norton 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to give us some real fun travel tips.
Yeah, some really good ones too for those people who aren't geocachers out there, who don't have the geocaching app or Munzie app or whatever. And what they do when they go to these places, Josh, and they don't know, they're there for work purposes, you see, and they don't know what to do with themselves, where to eat, where to drink, where to, amuse themselves during these times. So there we go.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But Craig, before we get to Anthony, we need to talk about our upgrades and delays. And let's just say this week there were a lot of actual delays.
Yes.
In the whole world.
Yes.
As people were stuck in airports and stuck in cities that they didn't want to necessarily be stuck in because of the Microsoft. I think it was like a Microsoft outage or something like that. It was some
IT outage somewhere that affected a lot of places worldwide, including Australia as well. So yes, there was a lot of delays in all. But Josh, what is your personal delay for this episode?
Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah,
Buckle up.
Yeah.
This is a mini story. I'll try not to make it long. Okay. I went to a car wash this week.
Oh,
do you know where I'm going with this?
I do. Because I follow you on your Instagram, mate. So
oh my God,
it was all over your Instagram. Yeah, keep going.
Okay, so I'll try to make it quick. I go to a car wash. It's one of those full service car washes. Mm-hmm. Where they vacuum it out for you, they wash it, all the things, right? I drive up. The guy with the iPad says, "Would you like to have the add-on where we spray off your rubber mats?" And I look down in my car and I look at my rubber mats, and they're dirty. I was like, "Yes, add that $2 extra." Yeah. I pull up into the vacuum station. I get out of my car and then I head into the car wash where you go down the hallway to watch your car be washed.
Yeah.
They're vacuuming it out. There's spraying the mats off, so I think, and I'm all done. They go through I watch my car go through the car wash. I get back in my car at the end of the car wash, and I look down, Craig, and the rubber mats are gone.
What?
Dun, dun, dun.
What?
And I'm like, oh no, they must have given the rubber mats, accidentally put the rubber mats maybe in somebody else's car, or they just forgot to put them back in.
Yeah.
So I pull back around and I go back to iPad Kid, who I gave my money to.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, okay. Sorry." So he goes, gets the manager. Takes 5 minutes. The manager comes out. He goes, "Yeah. What's the seems to be the problem?" I went through the car wash.
Yeah.
And then the rubber mats, I'm looking at it. The floor is clean, but the mats are gone. It must have went to some other car. That must be back where the vacuum thing is. So he leaves, comes back. He goes, "Yeah, you don't have rubber mats."
What?
And I'm like, "What? Are you kidding me?"
There's a word for that, Josh.
I was being gaslit.
Yeah, gaslighting. Exactly.
He was making me think I was crazy. He's like, "No, they you didn't have them. There were no black mats." I was like, "What?" I was like, 100% from my memory. I paid for them. Here's the receipt.
Oh, so you showed the receipt?
Here's the receipt.
Yeah.
It says I paid the $2 for it. He's like, "No, you never had them. They were never there." I'm like, are you kidding me?
Then why would he ask if you want your mats done if they weren't there? And then why would you pay for them to have them done if they weren't there?
That's the key.
Yeah.
Why did I pay for them? Because I remember looking at them. Right now, I give the iPad kid. I give him a little bit of grace there because he's not necessarily looking inside my car.
He's just like
he's just trying to sell. Yeah, he's trying to upsell me, right?
Exactly.
So I mean that from that perspective, yes. But I saw them with my eyes, Craig. I was like, I kept explaining to the guy, 100%. I had black mats and now they're gone. He's like, no, you can look at the video footage. I was like, what? I was like, I don't have time for this. Yeah. So I left. I came back later that evening.
When you did have time.
When I had time to look, and I went into the back room, a different manager. I look at the footage, and the footage that they showed me they showed me getting out of my car.
Yeah.
They pulled it up, and Craig, I don't know what's going on, but they didn't pull any black mats out of my car.
What?
So
maybe you are going mad.
So either I'm going crazy, or they didn't show me the complete footage of like when they took the mats out.
Oh.
Like there might be because they pull the forward again.
Be a mat
so
station.
I was like, yeah, is there a different? Where's the mat station?
Yeah,
and they were trying to explain to me though their process. So maybe they did lose them and they're trying to cover their steps. Did they, Craig? Did they edit the video?
It's not a attempted assassination. You know.
Gosh.
Conspiracy theory.
The conspiracy theory of the mats.
The geocaching vlogger conspiracy theory has been created.
Here's what I think happened, Craig. And I'm sorry, this is a long delay.
That's all right.
It was really a big deal.
Yeah.
I think when I got out of my car and went to that hallway, I entered a new timeline.
Oh, so you're like Marty McFly.
Well, like a timeline where I don't have mats didn't exist in my car.
A glitch in the matrix.
It was if anywhere there'd be a portal, it would be a car wash, I think. So
it makes sense.
Yeah. So I was telling everybody at my work the story, and I was like asking questions like, who's the president? To make sure everything was the same.
It was the same.
Because if there's something else to change.
Here's a question for you, though. Did any of your work colleagues or, Tammy or any of your kids say to you, oh, yeah, you definitely had black mats in there? Did you ask any of them?
They were uncertain.
What?
Yeah. Reese was like, I don't know if there were black mats in there. But then I talked to my youngest.
Yeah.
I talked to my youngest, Hayden, who has his permit and has been driving that car.
Driving it, yeah.
He's like, Dad, I think in the front seat, at least in the driver's side, there was a black mat there.
There you go.
I was like, thank you. Somebody, but most people were not validating me.
Did Tammy validate you, or she doesn't?
No, she thinks I'm crazy. She's like, I don't think we had black mats in the front.
Well, there you go. There's your There's your delay.
I just want to say, Craig, it was disturbing. And I want to know from the listeners, please reach out to us.
Yeah.
If you've ever had a moment like this where, like, Craig, 100%, I saw them with my own eyes.
Yeah. It was a glitch.
I was like, they're dirty. They're messed up. They need to be sprayed off. I saw them, Craig.
Yeah. It's like when you say you had deja vu, and is it the same black cat? Is it exactly the same black cat that you saw again 2 seconds ago?
So I took so much time with my delay.
That's all right, mate.
I'm not even going to share an upgrade. It was disturbing. How about you, Craig?
Your upgrade is that you went out now and bought black mats, didn't you?
I did.
There you go.
I posted it. Did you see me post it on Instagram? And I said, I'm trying to return to my original timeline.
Oh my, that really made me laugh. That really did. I saw that and I went, oh, there he is. There you go, mate. All right, my delays very, very quickly, and that is I've got FOMO. Like you said, remember before I said to you about me attempting to go to Midwest Geobash in Ohio this weekend, and having fun, but then my car and all that sort of stuff with the delay with the car. Well, now the delay's gone from all my car stuff because my car still isn't fixed, but that's okay. It's gone now towards me having the FOMO about watching all the great action that's been happening in Ohio at the Midwest Geobash. Everyone who's there, they're all camping on site. They're having drinking nights in this place called Area 51, which is, after a certain time, there's no kids allowed there. So it's alcohol and some dancing and some drinking and some fun.
Yep.
Yeah, so there you go. That's my delay.
I have FOMO too. I saw the video of Shorty Knits from the geocaching podcast, and I love how they light all the fire pits with blow torches.
With blow torches. And they light them all with blow torches. They make sure that they're lit, you know what I mean? So exactly. That's the place. That's the Area 51 they class it as too. So, you know, and a few good friends of yours and I are there as well. So you got Jeff from Cash the Line. He was on the episode. We had an episode with him too. He's there as well. Hailmeister is there, and a few others as well. So, and I know a few of them listen to this podcast, and of course Jesse and Scott were there too. So, really
it's a great event. I've been there once. I want to get back. It's a huge event next to Geo Woodstock. It's the largest. I believe it's the largest event in the United States.
Wow! So,
it's thousands.
And my car's perfectly ready to go for me to drive in and set it up. It's already done. I've got a place to sleep. You know. Anyway, I'm getting along in the tooth now for my FOMO because my upgrade, Josh, though, is my travel needs. I've been stuck at home now for a few weeks, you know, stuck back in New Jersey, as they say. And so now I've booked another trip to California next week for a few days, going to the northern California area of the Napa Valley sort of area and stuff.
You're going to love it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So just to get away, mate. You know what it's like. You need to get away with these things. So
Craig, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Because I have now FOMO. I have double FOMO now. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
I'm stuck in a new timeline where I don't travel at all. And so I want you to find a winery, sit down and have a glass of wine, and find a wine cat to sit next to.
But you're not with me, so they're not going to come walking over towards me. They only walk towards you. That wine cat from that video, if people don't know what we're talking about, we did get a video, you and I with Scott from Ohio. Again, we did have him on the show the other week as well.
And we did an episode on Lompoc.
That's it.
Where we're talking about,
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. All right, Josh, that's it for the time being. Do you want to just jump in straight away to Anthony? His name is Anthony, and he works for Wyndham, the Wyndham hotel chain, specifically Days Inn. Let's get to him, mate. So, Josh, here we go. Anthony Pizzuto, mate. Welcome, buddy. How are you?
I am excellent, Craig and Joshua. I'm so excited to finally be here. I've been listening to you since you started. Craig, I've known you for a while, and I've heard all about Joshua. And now I feel like I'm in geocaching greatness, which for me is odd because I'm not a geocacher. But I know you all are awesome.
Well, we'll get to this because Anthony, you are geocaching adjacent because you have been seen around the world by thousands of geocachers, and we'll get to that a little bit later. So there's a little carrot for you geocachers that are listening.
Exactly. And I'll show, you know what, again, Josh, all these links that we're talking about are in the description anyway. So there you go. Anthony, mate, before we get a crack on as well, let's just talk a little bit about yourself. I know you personally. I know you have several different side hustles that you do here, there, and everywhere. Give us all of them. All
of them. Okay, yes. Yeah. I guess I'm a Renaissance man. I have my fingers in all kinds of different pies. So I do have a day job where I work in the hospitality industry for a hotel chain, Days Inn by Wyndham. I'm an actor. I am a podcaster. I am a maker. I am a YouTuber. I am a fixer. I am a cosplayer.
There you go.
Whoa.
Oh yeah. I'll send y'all some pictures. And I am a husband and father to two amazing children. So yeah, there's a lot going on in the land of Anthony Pizzuto.
Well, mate, I know you personally through acting. Actually, years ago when I first came over here, etc. as well, and that's how you and I sort of met up from there. But then you said about your YouTube channel, but now you've gone into the podcasting world. Yes, and that's what I really enjoy too. I'm a big fan of the Geeky A Go-Go. It's called Geeky A Go. Tell us, what's the premise behind your podcast, mate?
Sure, yeah. So Geeky A Go-Go, the website started back in I think 2017 or 18, and it was really, if we're all being honest, it was really a way for me to get press passes to Comic-Con, and so I was, it didn't work, but bummer. I was writing content and reviewing movies and things like that. And I had a few pals that were trying to help me out, but they kind of fizzled out over time. And Geeky Go-Go just became, quiet over the last couple of years. And then every Friday, I have lunch with a few pals of mine, and we are nerds. We are cosplayers. We're Star Wars geeks. And we talk about all things nerdy. And finally, it was like, you know what? We just need to start recording these conversations. And like, what are we watching? What's going on in the world of geekdom and things like that? And we literally just said, okay, let's do it. And we recorded it. And that was episode 1. I think we talked about the Star Wars holiday special. It was around November of last year. And we've been going every week since then. Sometimes we record while we're at lunch. And so we'll be like a special live on location at such and such diner. But yeah, we talk about all things geeky. Mostly we talk about the things that are in our queues like Netflix and Hulu, and we review them to inspire others' queues, others' entertainment tastes, and to try something different. We have a disco ball rating system, 1 out of 5 disco balls. I don't know. The concept of the Geeky a Go-Go was like, I love that. The 70s. I love the colors and the vibrancy of it. And, why not just picture a bunch of nerds on roller skates in a discotheque, so
why not?
Why not? So we went with the disco ball rating system. So yeah, definitely check it out. geekyagogo.com, and you can see all of our upcoming episodes or our previous episodes, but we get it out weekly.
So yeah. Anthony, geocachers, and I'll just say this is not a geocaching podcast, but we have a lot of geocachers that listen. We have, people say geocaching is when like nerds go outside. We fully love the nerdy things. So Anthony, I'm just curious, what is your favorite fandom? You mentioned you've been talking about Star Wars a lot on your podcast because the Acolyte that is currently out. But is Star Wars your favorite fandom, or are there other? Give me your top 3 fandoms. That's what I want to know.
Ooh, okay. So Star Wars is number 1. Okay. For it's my true passion. My next fandom is anything horror related. I love a good horror movie. I'm a big fan of like the Nightmare on Elm Street, like the classic horror, the Nightmare on Elm Streets, the Friday the 13th, like the classic 80s monster type of films. And then the last, a third one.
Yep.
Oh, that's a tough one. Fandoms. You know what? I'm slowly getting into Studio Ghibli. They do a lot of anime. It's like Spirited Away, My Neighbor Totoro. So they're like 80s, 90s, and even today, these wonderfully animated films, but they're not necessarily for kids. They're well balanced between kids and like, but a lot of grown up themes. There's one I recently watched that's very very mature themes. There's this girl. It was Princess Nakatomo, and she grows up with the wolves, and she trains to be a wolf. But there's like a lot of blood and gore and stuff like it. It's really interesting. They play a fine line, so I'm really getting into that right now.
Very cool.
It's not your grandma's animation.
I just can't believe, Anthony, because I follow you. Obviously, you're a good friend of mine, etc. as well. I follow all your social medias and whatever else as well. I can't believe you fit what you do in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, let alone you've actually got a real full-time job as well. Plus the fix-it stuff that you do on your YouTube. He doesn't have one YouTube channel. No, he's now got 2 YouTube channels.
Impressive.
One's made by AP and the other one is fixed by AP. So he's got the 2 different ones from there as well. So
he's making stuff
very
and
impressive.
Fixing stuff.
Thank you.
Wow. Making stuff and fixing stuff.
Yeah. Exactly. Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about.
It's a great way too, Josh.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's a great way you think about it, fixing stuff. When we want to fix something in our house, what do? We always turn to YouTube.
Yeah,
and that's where Anthony's come about, wasn't it, Anthony? That's why 100%. You made it the Fixed It by AP, is to try and get that evergreen video stuff.
Exactly. So like the Made by AP stuff started out, the first episode was me making a costume for my daughter for Halloween. And I really wanted to be about just making practical things, whether it's props or cosplay or furniture. But then I started just to develop content, was posting videos about how to fix things, how to change your laptop battery, how to fix your dishwasher, your sump pump. And those are the videos that actually generate the income, the money. And so I was finding as I was posting one or the other, I would start losing subscribers, not a huge amount, but I noticed that I was like losing the people who came to me to see the model making stuff when I would post a video on how to change a laptop battery, and vice versa. I was like, you know what? I think at this point I need to split them off. And so now I'm moving every time I need to fix something and I make a video of it, that goes to Fixed by AP. And that one I'm growing to be like the monetized channel. And then I'm really niching down on the Made by AP to be more about the cosplay, the props, the models, and stuff like that. So really, waving the geek flag, so to speak, on that channel, and the Tim the Tool Man Taylor on the Fixed by AP side.
That sounds like a smart decision that you made. We're gonna get to the travel stuff, but we're gonna have one more question because it's just very intriguing. You mentioned cosplay.
Yes.
Do you enjoy cosplay? Is there a go-to cosplay, or do you mix it up? Who do you cosplay?
Top three.
There's three.
Top three.
This
there's
is
more than three.
There's more than three. Yes. Top three. Darth Vader. So that's the one that kind of opened up the cosplay tube or the faucet. So Darth Vader, and I do that with a group called the 501st Legion. They're pretty much professional costumers, and we go to events to raise awareness for charities and things like that. But they're very screen accurate. It costs a lot of money, takes a lot of time to make these things, but you can't get more screen accurate than the costumes that we produce in the 501st Legion. So Darth Vader. Plus, when you're dressed up as Darth Vader, you instantly become like Mick Jagger. Everybody wants your picture. Everybody wants to hug you. It's the most amazing experience ever. So Vader's number one. Number two, Robot Man from Doom Patrol. HBO Max's Doom Patrol. They're DC Universe comic book characters. The character is voiced by Brendan Fraser. It's a great show, very wacky show. But I did a cosplay for him a couple years ago at Comic-Con, and he was a hit. And he's a fun character because he's a very mouthy character. So you can say stuff that you normally wouldn't be saying and get away with it. Like you can flip off the camera, and that's in character for him. So it's a lot of fun to be him. And then finally, last year, we debuted a pal of mine. He is a fellow cosplayer. He actually wrote a book about cosplaying. He plays Paul Bearer, and I am the Undertaker.
Oh my gosh!
Oh yeah, yes,
that's awesome.
Yes, yeah. And and we're part of a cosplaying wrestling group called Worldwide Wrestling Cosplayers, I believe it's called. Yeah. Oh yeah. And there's a whole bunch of us. There's a Macho Man. There's Yokozuna. There's Hulk. There's a lot of people. So but like these characters. The first two, you're in a mask. But the last one, you're not in a mask. So you really have to kind of act the character. But people just love it. They love they love seeing a giant, thinner Undertaker, not as beefy Undertaker. But no, it's a lot of fun. And people just have a good time seeing us and taking their pictures. Yeah.
And when he says giant, Josh, too, by the way, Anthony, he's not a small man. He's like 7'3". How tall are you, mate? No, 6'3".
I don't think he's that tall.
I wish I was 7'3". That would be amazing. I'm about 6'3". Yeah.
Yeah, 6'3". There you go. So he's still 6'3", Josh. So, I mean, I didn't realize. So when I see these photos of Anthony in his cosplay too, when he says these things like when he is Darth Vader is known as being taller, more manly, more stronger than all the other players, and so he does suit the bill. Same with the Undertaker as well. He's this tall Undertaker there as well. So I knew I was hoping he'd bring the Undertaker up, Anthony, too, because I know how much Josh loves his WWF. Anyway, Anthony, let's get on to why you're here, and let's get into the travel content now, shall we? Now, going back to your real job, your 9 to 5, whatever. You work for Days Inn at Wyndham, is that right?
Correct. Yep. Days Inn by Wyndham. It's owned by Wyndham Hotels and Resorts, based out of New Jersey. I focus my attention on the Days Inn brand. Days Inn is a 54-year-old brand that started in Atlanta, Georgia, back in 1970. Wyndham, in one of its previous iterations, purchased it in 1990. And we have about 1,500 hotels just with Days Inn across the globe. In the U.S., we have about 1,300 of them because it is a U.S.-centric hotel chain. And so I have hotels all over the place. I have hotels that are right off the highway. I have hotels in downtown Brooklyn and Washington, D.C. Like, we're a very diverse product set. But having that many hotels and that many, franchisees, I find myself in an airplane or in a rental car all the time.
And that's what I thought. That's the reason why I said to Josh, I said, we need to bring Anthony on. He travels so much. On average, Anthony, what's your mileage in terms of your travel?
I average about 55,000 a year, just in air miles. So it's almost every week. I probably travel 30 weeks a year, if not more. Yeah. Which is crazy. I've actually been kind of on a little bit of a travel break this last few weeks, which has been fantastic. So I can catch up with things around the house. But yeah, it's typically like a Monday night through, either Wednesday, Thursday, depending on the need. Sometimes I'll do a day trip. I've done day trips to San Antonio. Like, I literally get off the plane, get into the Uber, go to the hotel, do my thing, get back into the car, go back to the airport, and get back to the New Jersey. Like, it's there's a lot going on. But we don't own any hotels. We don't manage any hotels. We're a brand. So, a franchisee will enter into an agreement with us to use our marks and our trades and our standards and things like that. And so 90% of it is client services. You're going to meet with a potential franchisee. You're meeting with a current franchisee who might be having an issue and you want to work through it with them, or just checking in on like a renovation that they might be doing. So it's a lot of client service stuff.
So with all the flights, would you mind telling us what is your airline of choice? I always think this is interesting.
Well, I'm New Jersey based, and so I'm kind of stuck with United. It's the airline. They have a hub in Newark, and so that's where all my status is. That's where all my miles are. Once a year, maybe twice, I'll have to fly a Delta flight.
Okay.
And I wish I could fly Delta more because they seem to have their stuff together more so than United. And I know, Craig, you're a United guy as well.
And I'm in Minneapolis, so I'm a Delta guy. We have a Minneapolis as a Delta hub, and I'm happy about that.
Yes, you're very lucky, very fortunate. But yes, I'm all invested in United.
Okay. Very good. And now I'm curious with the Days Inns, like you said, Days Inns are franchises. So when you say you go to San Antonio, does that mean that some individual has like a hotel that was maybe something else and they're like, or it was just not even like a brand, and they're like, no, we want to become a Days Inn hotel? Is that what you mean by that? That's the type of thing you do?
Totally. Yeah, that's part of it. So a lot of hotels, especially in like the economy space, which would be like Red Roof, Days Inn, Super 8, Comfort, things like that. They just kind of switch hands over time. So you'll have like maybe a 50-year-old building, but it's been 4 different brands.
Right.
And so that's part of it, going down and meeting with potential franchisees to share with them why they should be a Days Inn, and being, one of the 2 people who lead the brand. It weighs a lot when someone like me or my boss goes to visit with them. So that's part of it. Another part is if it's an established franchisee and they're going through renovation and they need an inspection, or they're having trouble with something that I can help them with. The FaceTime is so much better than, trying to deal with something over the phone. Getting a renewal of a contract or something like that is much easier in person than, over the phone. So that's
I love it.
So
Anthony, we've got to hear as well top 10 travel tips for businessmen like yourself, anywhere from, the airport tips to Ubers and taxis to where you stay. What do you do if you've got downtime while you're away? Things like that. And because this is obviously a travel podcast guided by geocaching, but if you're not a geocacher like yourself, you don't know that, oh, hang on, look at that. There's an actual pill bottle under that lamp skirt in the car park. So you don't know that. So there you go. So give us your top 10 tips, starting with number 1, if you got them listed.
All right. So number 1, always have backups. And by backups, I mean, there's nothing worse than getting to the airport and realizing you forgot your AirPods. And so I have actually 2 sets of backup headphones, one in my backpack and one in my carry-on, because I am a watcher. I am a listener, and if I don't have entertainment on these flights, I will go insane. And so I cannot recommend any more than to have a backup when you're traveling. And also in the vein of backups, making sure that everything that you need is downloaded on your device, whether it's your phone, your iPad, your computer, because Wi-Fi can be very spotty on the airplane. Wi-Fi can be very spotty in the airport, and you don't want to, have to be working on something and realize it's still in the cloud. But in that vein, my number 2 tip, when you're on the plane, if the internet is spotty, this is a great chance to get to inbox 0 because you're not connected to the internet. There's no emails able to get in. When you're replying to emails, when you're offline, they just go into your outbox and they'll be sent when you reconnect. And so just being able to chip away at all that stuff and catch up without the distractions that you get every minute of the day is wonderful. And then just being able to close your laptop and say, there's nothing left in my inbox until I get to the hotel and connect to the internet. It's a great, it's a great thing.
Anthony, going back to you having, entertainment whilst you're on the airplane, I've actually seen, especially on TikTok recently, there's a new trend going out of people having videos of themselves. And Josh, have you seen this?
Yeah.
They call it raw dogging. I'm going to raw dog this flight. And so weird. They haven't got a screen in front of them. They don't have any AirPods. They're not listening to anything.
Well, they do have a screen in front of them, but they're not using it.
No, or the screen they have, they're literally watching, that map of the plane flying. So I'm going to raw dog this flight. Can you imagine doing that all the way to Australia? 15-hour raw dog? No, thank you.
This is dumb. That's so dumb.
Funny kind of raw dogging. So I was taking a flight from Newark to Oregon, to Portland, Oregon, and my seatmate, I was upgraded to first class, and my seatmate was the guy who was in Portlandia, Saturday Night Live.
Fred Armisen.
Fred Armisen. He was my seatmate.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
It was, and of course, it was on a flight to Portland, Oregon. But he was so strange. It was uncomfortably strange, and he was kind of raw dogging the first part of the flight. He just had his hands on his lap, and he was staring straight forward. And I was like, "Is he gonna hurt me?
Oh my god,
what's going on here?" And then finally, when they brought the meals around, he kind of relaxed for a minute, and then he started watching something on his iPad. But it was a good hour before he broke. I don't know if he was afraid of flights or something. It was very strange.
Wow.
He started the raw dog.
Wow. I want to go back to your number 1 too, Anthony. So when you say bring extra things, when we talk about AirPods, earbuds, all the things. Now, United, I don't know, does United have, most of your flights, domestic flights, have screens in front of you that you can plug into?
Not that you can plug into.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. You can. They have the in-seat charging, but there's. Okay. I don't think you have anything that you can plug into on the screen. Yeah.
Okay, so they do or do not have a movie suite or a show suite that you can watch on the.
It's 50-50. Yeah.
Okay, it's 50-50.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of them are moving towards the screenless, but having an iPad holder, which is really interesting.
Yeah. That's a really cheap way to do things. I think.
Yes.
More efficient, Josh.
And I know it's I have just a tip for me because I do fly Delta. Oh yes, very nice,
Mr. Fancy Pants.
Yes, very nice airline. But I have Bluetooth noise canceling headphones, which I enjoy. But the cool thing about these noise canceling headphones is that you can do the Bluetooth, which means you can connect to your phone, typically easy. But also it has an aux cord out of them, so it's a dual. I don't know if most Bluetooth headphones have it, but because that aux cord you can plug it right into the entertainment, so you have the best of both worlds. Or I know some people get a little adapter for their Bluetooth, so they have a Bluetooth converter that they can plug into the screen, and then now they have wireless headphones. So I don't have that, but that would be next level.
Oh yeah. But always have a backup. You don't want to be without sound, and don't raw dog. That's just strange for everybody.
It's just crazy.
I'm so tough. It just reeks of trying to be like macho, I think.
Exactly. My backup, Anthony, personally as well, because I've got my AirPods themselves for obviously Bluetooth reasons, etc. as well. But sometimes, obviously, their batteries go or whatever else as well. So I've actually got a corded one as well that goes into my iPad, like corded headphones. So
smart.
So that's my backup too. So there you go, mate. Yeah, good tips. Good tips. What else have we got?
Well, do you guys travel with battery banks as well? I don't, but I'm curious. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a geocacher thing, as you can imagine. The GPS in the phone really takes a lot of power from the phone. So we just walk around with them in our everyday life as giant power banks.
If you see Anthony, any events, whether it be geocaching events or Munzie events as well, Munzie's the same. You'll always see everyone on their phones doing the walk or whatever, and they've always got a cord going into their pocket. So
it's true.
It's stock standard.
Got it.
Stock standard.
All right. So my next one, number 3, and this is still in the vein of like entertainment, and this is a relatively recent one, with like Netflix and Disney and HBO going to their ad-supported tiers. If you're on their lowest tier, which is the ad-supported, you can't download content.
Oh, yeah.
So what we do is, if I know I'm going to be so we do the ad supported normally, but if I find that I'm going to be traveling a lot and I just want to load up my iPad, I'll actually upgrade my plan for the month to the next tier where I can do that.
Smart.
Or if I'm going to be traveling and my family's traveling somewhere else, which happens in our household, they'll go. My family went to Paris for spring break while I was slumming it in Orlando for work. But if they're traveling and they all have iPads as well, we'll upgrade to the next plan up where you can do multiple devices. But it's only temporary. The thing with that, though, is you need to be on top of it so you don't get charged $30 the next month as well. But I found that kind of playing that game of subscription changing for Netflix or Disney or whatever it has been a lifesaver for me.
I just do that even outside of travel, just everyday life. I'm like, okay, my kids are like, we want to watch a show on Netflix, or I'm sorry, Disney Plus. I was like, okay, what subscription are we going to cancel to exchange it? Because we're just adding on subscriptions. I'm sure you can relate, Anthony. Being a fandom of many things, it's just like one subscription after another.
It's like, why not just get cable again?
Right, exactly. That was way cheaper. We were for years we were begging, I want an a la carte. I want an a la carte sort of entertainment experience, and then now we have it, and we're like, yep. It's now $200 a month.
Exactly.
We've never had cable in Australia, just saying. I mean, we've got some form of cable, but it's extremely minimal in comparison to what you guys had here. I'm talking maybe 10 channels on our cable that we had. That's it. On our free-to-air television in Australia, we only had 4 channels in total on our free-to-air. But again, free-to-air, you can't download anything, none of that sort of stuff. It's only when Netflix came about that in Australia we have Netflix. There's another thing called Stan, which is like your Hulu, things like that. So there you go.
Wow, that reminds me, Craig, of National Lampoon's European Vacation, where the kids go to Europe and they're in the hotel room and they're like, what do you want to watch, cheese or snow? It's just like documentaries on how cheese is made. That's it.
You probably know, Anthony, by listening to the show, obviously, that Josh is a pop culture fan when it comes to movies and songs, etc. as well. So
we could hang out, Anthony, for hours and talk.
Nice. Well, we're going to have you both on the Geeky Go-Go podcast, so don't you worry.
I got some geeky things to talk about.
And actually, before we end today, I do want to see your fancy YouTube play button that I keep hearing about.
Oh yes, I'll take you upstairs. I got permission from my wife to put it in a common area, not down here in my office. I was like, I want to show that baby off. So that took years.
Not many people have got that actually play button. Let's be honest, especially YouTubers as well. So yeah, see how we go from there.
Nice.
All right, mate, moving on to your number 4.
Yes. Okay. So if you travel a lot, and this is something I just took advantage of too, sign up for your airline's, not just their credit card, but also if they have one, a club access card. So I just signed up for, It's like $500, $600 a year. But I got the United upper end credit card, which gives you club access. So,
nice.
Oh yeah, so it's great. So if you have their lowest end one, you get 2 passes a year. But if you travel, 30 weeks, 40 weeks a year, you're in 80 flights a year, you run out of those very quickly. But with this, you just kind of scan your boarding pass and you get in. And what's great about that is you get all the power that you need to charge your stuff. You get a quiet space to sit and work. You get free beverages. You get free food. And check with your company that you work for, because they might actually reimburse you for that that fee, because it saves them on the per diem. So if you have like a $75 per diem, well, I'm going to eat for free in the lounge. That's saving them money. So something to ask if you go that route. Yeah, that's one I definitely suggest taking advantage of.
Here you go, Josh. You ready for this? Give you some more jealousy, mate. So
I know.
Before I went on my recent trip to Montreal, yes, Anthony, I was escorted by my wife, who, like you, is a high-end, traveler and United person. And yeah, her and we got there 3 hours before. It was obviously international flight technically. So we got there just over 3 hours beforehand, and then our flight was delayed by an hour. Did we care? No. I was getting free drink, free food, relaxed area. I was doing some TikToks. I was doing some, other Munsey stuff and all that sort of thing too, and doing some work on the computer. Oh, mate, I'm telling you, it's. I've never been there before to these lounges, Anthony, and I think when you have been to one, you want to be to all. Like you can't, once you have it first, you don't know what you're missing out on until you actually do it. So
totally.
yeah, absolutely. The airline lounges, they're brilliant. Nice bathrooms too.
Yes, definitely. That's another big pro of the club access. And I bet Delta has some pretty nice lounges in their hubs.
Never been.
Maybe just once, Josh. Just do it once.
I know. No, if I go once, then I'm going to be like, I want to go all the time, and then all of a sudden I'm paying $600 a year. I don't fly. I mean, I fly a lot, but not that much.
Email Delta with this episode, Josh, and we've said Delta that many times in this episode, then you may get 1 or 2 passes for free. Who knows?
This is not sponsored, but Delta, if you're listening, you listen. Every episode we're like Miller High Life. I don't even know why we want to be sponsored by Miller High Life, although that's a big brand.
It's a big brand. And really, let's be honest, Josh, it's only you that really likes Miller.
It's the best cheap beer. It's the best. All right.
What else have we got, Anthony?
All right. So now we're getting to the hotel. So I normally wear blazers and a button down as part of my normal getup. The irons at hotels are consistently unreliable. Most of the time they're dirty. I have damaged more than my fair share of shirts in ironing. So I picked up this past year, actually my wife got it for me for Christmas, I think, a portable steamer. And so I travel all over the world with that thing. It's great. And so I don't use an iron anymore. I just hang my stuff up and I steam it. And it's compact. It fits really nicely. I have been stopped at TSA a couple of times now because they're like, "What is that? It's a steamer." Oh, okay, move along. It does look suspicious when it's in the bag. But yes, don't damage your shirts if you're traveling for business. Don't damage your outfits. Just get the steamer. I highly recommend it.
That's a great tip. I mean, Josh, we all know you with your hairdryer. At least you're not like this sort of thing where you have to wear fancy clothes, and get them, get them cleaned. And
we're talking to a hotel guy right now, and I want to be validated. Anthony, it is ridiculous if you go into a hotel or an Airbnb and there's no hairdryer. Hairdryer is standard. Like, why? That's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
You every place needs a hairdryer. Agreed or disagree?
So I do use a hairdryer as well, and I'm happy to share that Days Inns has a standard that you have to have a hairdryer. So if you go to one of our 1,300 Days Inns in the United States, you'll find a hairdryer.
Now I'm the old one out.
Sorry, Craig. Sorry, friend.
That's all right. But no, great tip, Anthony, there on the steamer, mate. I like that. I really do.
Yeah, I love it. I wish I had been doing it a lot earlier. I would have saved a lot of shirts. So moving on to number 6. So, and this is something I've kind of picked up over the years too. So I use Uber all the time. Whenever I'm on the road, I use it here for car service to the airport. But it's interesting. It changes city to city. Is it an Uber city or is it a Lyft city?
Right.
And so I obviously have both apps on the phone. And what I do is when I get off the airplane and as I'm walking towards the area, I start ordering my car. And if Uber's taking a little while, I'll fire up Lyft and order a car. Whoever gets to me first is the one I'll take. I'll cancel out the other one. So like there was a time I was in Nashville. And I was waiting and an Uber actually accepted my ride, and then he just kind of was going back and forth somewhere, and I finally had to cancel it. But then I ordered a Lyft, and it was like right there. And so come to find out, Nashville is a Lyft town, not an Uber town. So yeah, having both apps on your phone to figure out who's going to get you first is going to save you time in the long run.
Anthony,
so sorry, Josh, I was going to say, I take it then you're an Uber Lyft fan over a taxi fan then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Who takes a taxi?
I feel terrible saying that because, taxi drivers, salt of the earth, work really hard. In London, they have to take a 20,000 question test or something like that. Mm-hmm. There's great work to be done with the taxis, but there's just nothing better than opening up your phone and ordering a car.
Yeah. I don't want to talk to a human. I don't want to call anybody.
Nope. Exactly.
Josh, I saw that actually on my last trip as well, that there's a toggle button now on Uber whereby you can actually ask them not to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep. Yeah. You can request what music there is and request not to talk.
Yep.
So there you go.
Awesome.
Yeah. The conversation switch.
I love talking to people, but let's be real. It's just like, why are we writing? Why are we doing this? We need to get somewhere.
Exactly.
And as a former driver, that would be a very great tool to have because you're always trying to read the energy. It's like a skill. It's a skill set to read the energy of the person riding. And a good Lyft or Uber driver can read the energy and and not talk or talk. So that's a great tool for the drivers as well. Anthony, have you taken any of those Uber or Lyft? I know they're not Uber or Lyft, but the self-driving Ubers are. Oh my God, I can't wait to do that.
Me too. Yes, I have yet to go to a place where they have it readily available, but I cannot wait for that. Yes.
I think Phoenix has it.
Do they really?
I think Phoenix has it. I think some places in California as well. Craig, you haven't taken one yet, have you?
I don't know about these things.
Oh, have you seen? Oh my gosh, I'm going to send you a video.
There's no driver?
There's all kinds of videos of people using them. They're fascinating. Autonomous. It's like an Uber, but you get there and the car pulls up. Nobody's driving. It's the robot. The robot is driving, and sure enough, it'll take you right to your place. And it's a little creepy, a little scary. But most people that I've seen that have taken it, they're like, I actually felt safer than I did with a real person.
Oh, really? Yeah. True.
Was it this show where you guys were talking about something in Virginia? There was like a pod thing that at a university. Okay, all right.
Yes, Craig, you did that.
Oh yeah, but that wasn't no. That was but that was actually on actual tracks, like a designated track. So there's no other vehicles involved in this.
Oh, okay.
They were like little mini buses per se because they're very small. And Josh, you will see it too when we go to Geo Woodstock next year in Morgantown. And they've got their own. It's not actually a track, but it's a roadway of concrete. But it's its own little road.
The crazy thing is it's super old. It seems like the future, but it's so old. It's like built in like the 50s or 60s or something
amazing.
Like that.
That's amazing.
Yeah. All right.
Number 7, eating on the road. So I have I have a rule that I don't come home with more weight than I left with. And so I try to eat healthy and well, but it's hard when you're traveling in a rental car, hundreds of miles a day, and all there is Culver's or McDonald's or Zaxby's and things like that. So what I try to do is find like not branded places or not franchised places.
Yeah.
Like I'll pull over, or if there's something very unique to the area, I'll try that. So for example, I was driving from Paris, Texas to Dallas, Texas, and I saw this sign for a barbecue place. And I was like, I've never heard of this place. So I just pulled, it was like something Soul Barbecue or something like that. And I pulled over, and it's literally like this ramshackle building with a dirt parking lot and pickup trucks galore. And then I pull in with my little, Toyota Corolla from Avis. And, but you walk in and, it's a great old barbecue place. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but it wasn't a McDonald's. It was really good food. Yeah, it probably wasn't the healthiest of choices, but I did grab, the okra, and that kind of balanced out the fatty beef that I was having.
What, fried okra?
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, is there any other way to have okra? I mean,
I've never had okra until I came here, just saying. So there you go.
Fried okra is so good.
We don't really have it in Australia.
Yeah. It's a very distinctly like Southern United States dish too. Speaking of the South again, I was driving from Savannah to Atlanta, and I saw a billboard for like, the best pecan pie in Georgia or something like that. And so I took a diversion and went and had, lunch at this. And again, I try to get salads, but I also imbibed in the best pecan pie, and it was really good. But it was like this offbeat town that I would never have considered if I had just stuck to the highway and stopped at a rest area. So I try to find, these non-branded, non-franchised places to dine, because usually they have a better assortment of food too. If I do, and my boss makes fun of me, if I do have to eat at a fast food restaurant, I will try to find like the healthier option. So he took me to a Culver's for the first time to try a butter burger. I guess Culver's is like your neck of the wood, Joshua.
Yes, Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
Company.
Yeah. And but they serve broccoli. And so I got a butter burger with a side of broccoli. I have not lived that down. He actually was like, I'm going to go sit over on that side of the... But yeah, I think it's a good rule. Try not to come home with more weight than you left with. I mean, should be a good road warrior rule.
I love that. And also love the fact that, you're actually supporting local, other local vendors, etc., and restaurateurs and stuff like that too, which is awesome. And also, I'm the same, Anthony. When I go to a place, I actually research what food are they known for here. And Josh, I've been with you several times, and Josh's favorite thing, before he even looks at the menu, he says to the waiter, waitress, whatever, he looks at them directly and says, "What's your biggest seller here?" Because whatever the locals eat, that's what's going to be good.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That's
I think I say, what do people get here?
What do people get here? That's what you say.
What makes your restaurant so special?
Exactly. What's your recommendation? Is the other one you say, Josh, too.
That's true.
What do you recommend?
That's
true. There you go.
Although I will say I have had to stop at a Buc-ee's, and I did that for the first time a couple months ago because I heard about their jerky, their wall of jerky, and I am now addicted to their Korean barbecue and Bohemian garlic jerky. Oh, so
next
good.
time. Wow. Next time you go, Anthony, you got to get their dark chocolate coffee beans.
Ooh, okay.
And what they are is basically like, your dark chocolate balls that normally have a peanut or whatever else, but they've actually got a coffee bean inside. And so you get that sweetness, and yet you get that strength of the coffee bean flavor coming through. Oh, man.
Nice.
They are so good. They're bad.
Craig, I just had a brainstorm. We need to do a whole show on Buc-ee's.
Oh, we do.
You could do a whole show on Buc-ee's. And maybe we could get somebody from Buc-ee's to talk to us. Wouldn't that be amazing?
That'd be cool.
Sorry, Anthony. We're planning other podcasts during your interview.
Do your thing.
But wouldn't you? I would listen to an episode all about Buc-ee's.
I would
100%.
Especially if you could get someone from Buc-ee's. That would be amazing to get all like the tips and tricks. Oh yeah,
Totally.
I've got 5 Buc-ee's left to visit, Josh. That's all.
Oh my
God. Well, that number's going up because Buc-ee's is known as a southern thing, but get ready to add some more to your list because they're building one in Wisconsin as we speak.
Wow.
Oh wow.
So that's farthest north, I think.
Well, rumor has it too that they're actually building up one in New Jersey. Apparently,
What?
Anthony, have you heard that rumor?
I have not. Okay,
And up near your way too, in the north,
Okay.
in the north of Jersey. So there you go.
The cold part of Jersey.
Yes, exactly. Where people actually say Jersey. Anyway.
Oh man,
I know. We can bring him on as a guest, Josh. Look, I'm ribbing him already. So there you go. All right, mate. Moving on. What else do you need to do? What are we up to? We're up to number 8.
We're up to number 8, and I think 8 and 9 kind of go together. But so it's really making the most of your time, especially if you're only there for like a night or a day. So going back to San Antonio, I was there for a couple of days, and so my first night there, I had nothing to do, and so I just went for a walk and ended up walking by the Alamo. And so I went to go check out the Alamo. And then across from there was a Ripley's, believe it or not. So I went to the Ripley's. And I just you're by yourself. You find things to do. I was in Atlanta, and there was a indoor skydiving place right across the street from the hotel. So I'm not going to sit in my hotel room. Let's go do something fun. So I went to go indoor skydiving. But they're not planned. They're almost like your equivalent to the Golden Nugget. Like they're my little golden nuggets. I'm of inspiration when I'm on the road. So just kind of identifying what's around you in the area and just doing something cool. I mean, don't be stuck in your hotel room.
No, definitely not. And watching the movies and stuff that's on there. That's it. That's all you do, really. And blow drying your hair, Josh. Anyway.
Speaking of the Alamo, I've been there myself, and Anthony, you've been there as well. Isn't the basement part of it awesome?
The basement is like the best part. Like
I know, right?
There's so much to explore there in the basement. It's almost like you could find missing things there.
Missing things, and
as we're talking, Josh, Anthony's in his own basement, I dare say. Let's be honest.
I don't even know if Craig, Anthony, I don't know if Craig even knows what we're referencing right now.
No.
See, I told you. Because he didn't have cable. He doesn't know.
Didn't have cable.
Yeah. Look it up, Craig. After the podcast, look up Basement of the Alamo.
Exactly.
Basement of the Alamo. All right, I'll look it up.
There are listeners right now laughing their heads off, and you're just so lost, and I love it.
And what I'll do is, whatever I find, Josh, I'll put a link for everyone else in the world apart from the US in the show
notes. Smart.
All your bicycle fans will really appreciate it.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, is this the thing you always talk about with that? Unfortunately, the guy, God rest his soul, he just passed away, didn't he, Josh?
Yes. Okay, you got
it. There you go. Yeah. I got it.
Sorry, I spoiled it.
Oh, that's okay.
No, I still haven't seen it. But Josh I know what Josh is like. You can't say his name because Josh will start to do him.
Oh my God.
So ready for this? Ready for this, Anthony? You listen carefully. Josh, Pee Wee Herman.
Oh, let's go to the Alamo.
That is.
So and whenever he hears that name, he has to do him. He just that's just in his nature. He can't even. It's like he's being hypnotized to some degree, whereby he hears that word and that's what comes out of his mouth. So that's what he does.
I'm proud to say I not only have one Pee Wee Herman doll, I have 2.
Oh my God!
And one of them is a puppet.
Wow, you're like deep in the Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And that's not even my top 3 fandoms.
It's not, it really isn't.
Well, and I mean, speaking of nerdy and fandoms and things like that, that kind of leads into number 9, which is find nerdy things to do. One of the things that I like to do when I'm in my hotel room and nothing immediately in my vision is inspiring me to go do something, I will actually Google nerdy things to do in Houston, nerdy things to do in San Diego. Oh, and what's great is that because of Reddit and because of TripAdvisor and all these other, kind of crowdsourced data places, lots of nerds have kind of contributed to little guides of what nerdy things to do. So like, for example, I was in Texas a few weeks back and I was in Corpus Christi. I was like, nerdy things to do in Corpus Christi. And like the number one thing was check out the Harry Potter coffee shop. And so I like went out of my way and I went to this. It's literally like in this weird strip mall in a very depressed area, almost like a very war zoney feeling kind of place in Corpus Christi. But then you walk in and I forget what it was called. It's like the Harry Potter coffee shop. That's the thing. I don't remember the names of these places, but I remember being there and I have the pictures. But you walk in and they have like big stuffed spiders on the walls, and they have like the Harry Potter houses flags up, and all the menu items are spells or character names. Like you feel like you're in a Harry Potter world coffee shop.
Anthony.
That's cool.
Sir. Anthony, do they serve the coffee in a muggle?
Oh, yes, I know there is the tie-in with your world and the Harry Potter world. Yes,
exactly. And feel free, Anthony, to use that on your next podcast. Just saying, because I know you do. They start their podcast with a dad joke normally too. Sometimes,
yes,
so.
yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Thank you for the inspiration. I will absolutely make that happen.
You're welcome.
Houston has a Lord of the Rings themed restaurant. They have an 80s themed restaurant. So like just finding nerdy things to do, to check out, highly recommend it. And then also like when I'm in town, I'm also a collector of nerdy ephemera. I'll go to like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist and I'll search like their for sale sections, like Star Wars or movie props or things like that, just to see if there's anything unique in the area that I might want to pick up and take home. I haven't yet. I've seen some interesting things, but I haven't yet actually purchased anything. But that's a good tip for like card collectors or even like smaller antique collectors to see what's for sale in your area.
Yeah, that's a great tip, I should say. And also that way you can actually physically see it before you actually purchase it and it gets shipped over, and then it's not the right card, or it's not as good a quality as what it looked, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's a great tip as well. So there you go. So is that your number 10, Anthony? Or do you have one more?
I have one more. Here we go. All right, this is it.
Number 10.
Catch up with old friends. All right. So
yes.
This is something. So Facebook, obviously, you get to connect with people, but like I have friends that I grew up with that are living all over the country, all over the world now. If I'm going to an area where I know someone's at, I'll reach out to them and say, hey, want to grab a cup of coffee? And then I'll like see someone that I haven't seen in 15, 20 years. The same thing about being part of the 501st Legion, the Star Wars costuming group. We have 10,000, 15,000 members across the globe. We have representation in every state. And so it's a great way to also reach out to them and say, hey, I'm going to be in your town, would love to connect. And so you have like your fellow nerds that you can meet up for a beer with and talk about Star Wars. So really taking advantage of Facebook, LinkedIn, or any like, kind of groups that you're part of and connecting with people while you're on the road.
That's a really also a great tip for geocachers as well, because as a geocacher, somebody all over the world, and the geocaching community, I'm sure like a lot of communities, is just really friendly. So you could be looking for geocaches that are really amazing geocaches. You can literally on the website click on their name, and that could take you to a messaging center where you could actually connect with them. Yep. And if you're going to be going to a place 2 weeks in advance, you can actually create an event in a coffee shop where a bunch of locals will just show up and hang out with you wherever you are in the world.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So in geocaching, the ecosystem is set up for that, which is really cool.
Love that.
And it's similar with other games as well. Like for instance, in Munzie, I'll be traveling through, and as soon as you're capping or finding these Munzies, the owner gets a notification that you've capped it or found it, etc. So I've been going in my travels. I go through a town or whatever, and this person gets 100 caps from me, and they're like, oh, are you still in my area? Well, I'll meet you for coffee somewhere. I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm just passing through. Or, yes, I am staying. Where can we meet up for coffee? So that's a great thing. So any community, I like it.
When that happens to me, I just say, stop stalking me.
No, you don't. Josh normally says, follow me on my YouTube channel. Anthony, thank you so much, mate. But before we leave you and before we end this episode itself, we said before at the beginning of this episode that you do know a little bit about geocaching, and that is all thanks to me, I'll say. Now I sound like Josh. Josh, it was a few years ago now. You would remember this too, and you probably remember Anthony's face now. And that is, I reached out to Anthony because obviously he's a great actor as well. He's a good nerd. So he was geocaching accepting. I'll say that. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to film my GIF, my Geocaching International Film Festival theme one at a beautiful silver diner, like it was old school diner up near where Anthony lives as well, up in North New Jersey. And I held a geocaching event there for we'll call them extras. But then Anthony, and then I had another girl as well, who were my two co-stars. They played the role, and Anthony played the role as the main character for a geocaching video that he's not actually a geocacher for. So there you go. What did you think?
Yeah, that was that was my favorites, Craig. That was a great video.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
It was a lot of fun, and I loved being part of it. Thank you for including me. It was nice to meet some other geocachers. So I got to see that you weren't the only geocacher in the world, which was really cool. Right. There was a bunch of you. But no, it was a really fun day. And it's funny. Every time I do travel, I do think of you. And I'm like, I should install that app, or I should maybe go see if there's a cache around or something. Yes. And so, I will commit to you both on this podcast right now. The next work trip I go, I'm going to get the app and I'm going to look for a geocache. Okay.
There we go.
All right.
There we go.
All right.
And you'll have to, when we go on your podcast, you'll have to tell us a little bit about the experience.
Yes.
How about that?
How many strange looks I get while I'm creeping on someone's barn, to find a
pill bottle.
Find a pill bottle.
Well, and it's interesting, there is a little bit of a learning curve. A lot of people, the first cache they look for, they just can't find it because they just don't know what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. And so it'll be interesting to see. But you're kind of geeky, so I think you're going to figure it out.
And very observant too, Anthony. You're very an observant person, so you do make and build great things. So we do appreciate that. So thank you again, Josh and Anthony. Thank you so much, and everyone who's listening. All Anthony's links are in the show notes, from the Geeky Go podcast to his YouTube channel to the Geeky website. The Made by AP website as well, the Fixed by AP YouTube channel, like everything. And even Josh, I've even got a link. I've even got ready for this. I've even got a link to his IMDb page. There you go.
Whoa.
And I will say this as well. I'm very proud, Josh, that one of our collaborative works is actually featured upon his IMDb page. So there you go.
Wait a minute. Is the geocaching film on there?
No. We did. It's not non-geocache related. I actually did all the filming and editing, and Anthony was one of the main star of this particular monologue. Or scene study it was, I think. So there you go. So that's what it is. So thank you again, Anthony. Anything else you want to add before we finish up, mate?
No, thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. Like I said before we started recording, I feel like I am in the presence of geocaching and travel royalty. So it's been an honor to share these tips. And thanks again. We'll have you on our show very soon.
Thank you very much, mate. And Josh, as I said before, Anthony, very proud for us as well to have him as a patron. Anyone else that they want to be a patron, how do they do that?
Yeah, if you've been enjoying our podcast, we'd really appreciate your support. By supporting us, you're helping us create even better content. Keep it free for everyone. No annoying commercials, but Delta, if you're listening, United, I'm willing to cross over if you give me a free pass into your whatever it's called
lounge.
Your lounge, thank you. So anyway, but we don't need them because we have amazing patrons. So join us at patreon.com/treasures of our town.
And how else can people find us, Josh?
Feel free to reach out to us at treasuresofourtownpodcast@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube.
So that's it for our show today. Please subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcasting app. And as always, Josh,
may your travels always lead you to the most unexpected and amazing hidden gems around the world. Thanks, Anthony. I bet you're from Jersey, and I bet you travel all over, but I bet you the reason you stay in Jersey because you're proud of your town, and that is a damn rare thing these days. All right. I got it in there.
God, I did.
See you later.
Thanks, mate.
Bye.